Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for June 18th through 21st, 2021. So we've got the solstice this weekend, a big turning point, because the solstice, the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere, shortest day of the year in the Southern Hemisphere, marks a turning point into a new season for all of us. But this turning point coming on the heels of Mercury retrograde and eclipse season and these crazy squares to Neptune. This solstice is a very powerful turning point. Mercury will turn direct just a couple of days after the solstice on the 22nd. So, and we're coming to the end of eclipse season. We've got next week the Capricorn full moon, and that will complete the eclipse season. The next lunation after the last eclipse, very powerful. This full moon in Capricorn will be happening at the early degrees of Capricorn, and that means it will be in square to Chiron in Aries. So that brings us a powerful energy around breaking all contracts with outside authority everywhere throughout this whole evolution that we've given our power away. Specifically, this astrology keeps bringing us back to Atlantean time, where this whole saga started. And we willingly gave up our power through trickery. We never would have done it without being tricked and lied to. And is that why this is being, the current events are playing out? Because we got to get wise, humanity. And this is a big energy, this turning point energy. It's been a very strange last 5 weeks, 4, lifetimes, right? But particularly these last weeks of this Mercury square Neptune. Just reality is strange. You can feel that it's really shifting because we've had all eclipses and Mercury retrograde and mutable signs, and mutable signs are about adjusting. So here we are getting this massive psychic rearranging. But what is it really about? And it's seems to be about a completely different way of living. And so we had to go through this period of time, this whole last year, really, but then a bloom over this last month or so of complete lack of direction. This feeling like completely disoriented in life. That's this Neptune energy, and trying to figure out, of course, it's been a whole year of feeling like we're treading water, not able to plan and move forward in the way that we would like. And then this big bloom of this mutable energy, but it's exactly perfect because it's giving us that opportunity to have this complete psychic rearranging. Now, as Mercury turns direct, it's kind of like, well, what is that about? What are we doing here? Now it's eventually you have to move, right, from the place that you're in after treading water for so long. Now, we had a big shift of energy with that last week with Mars moving over into the sign of Leo. Now, Mars is the ruler of Aries, so very fiery. It's our action planet, our male planet, our wanting to move forward energy, right? And very much likes to be in the sign of Leo, in that fire element. The sign of Leo is about expression. It's about bringing forward your God self and expressing the creation forces, source energy through your own light. Now, what's going on is that Mars, as it moved over into Leo, is come into an inconjunct, which means across the zodiac, but one sign over from Jupiter at the beginning degrees of Pisces. Now, Jupiter is just about to turn retrograde on the solstice. And so it's an interesting energy in this inconjunct relationship with Mars, who's so ready to go. And Jupiter's like, well, wait. Jupiter cruised through Aquarius, just went into Aquarius in December. And so cruised through Aquarius and then went a couple degrees into Pisces and then now back again. So that will bring 3 passes for Jupiter over the Aquarius Pisces cusp, which is exactly what we're speaking to in the shift of ages from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. So Jupiter, everything interacting with Jupiter, everything this whole year has been about almost like, okay, boom, we're switching over to this new age. Now we have to get re-educated, reoriented, a whole different way of life. Every sign has a different meaning. Every number is a different energy in this new age, and we're in orientation. What seems to be happening in this shift is a completely different way of navigating life. Whereas, Leo has two, of course, all the signs have two octaves. The lower octave of Leo is insecurity and ego issues around lower ego, right? And then the higher octave of Leo is a full expression of your God self in the world, in your own unique individual. So the Leo energy is about, it's inspirational and it's demonstrating a way to shine. It's about encouraging other people to come into their full expression and this is such a key energy in our world right now. It's the medicine for everything, all our little problems, our vitality, everything we're dealing with health-wise and in our life, all of it gets into perspective when you're fully expressing yourself. That feeling of being lost in a creative project where you're co-creating, And so this inconjunct with Jupiter. Now, Jupiter and Mars are powerful. When they come together, it's so powerful. And it's very interesting to note, this is a minor transit, but because it's Mars and Jupiter, it's like everything, especially because we had Mars square Jupiter last year. And those transits, when that happened, was exactly corresponded with the lockdown energy. And so it was almost like, it felt to me at watching the astrology like a deliberate control mechanism, lockdown energy coming at the exact times of these powerful Jupiter-Mars interactions. So now this inconjunct is really important to us, and it's exact through the 21st, through this weekend. And so what is this about? Because an inconjunct is like, well, it's one sign over. It's like something's got to be adjusted. It's almost like the table leg is slanted, and you've got to straighten it out so that you can figure out what's going on. And in this case, the adjustment. So Jupiter at the beginning of Pisces is trying to get us to expand into spiritual connection, back into spiritual service, back into the cup of God. Jupiter has this energy of the Messiah, of the young, new leader, the insight and inspiration and hope for the future. And so in this inconjunct with Mars and Leo, it's saying, oh, this is how we do it. This is how we expand back into our connection with Source, as we express that exact energy. We have been, the whole manipulation of the human race was based on there's a power outside of you that's more powerful than who you are. And this is everything that's getting reconciled, right? So if you want God in your life, you want Source in your life, you want creation in your life, you want that mystical, magical experience, this truly living, then you do that by allowing your own individual expression of that Source energy. We've got it. We are a fractal of God. That's the trickery. From the beginning, the trickery was that, wait, you used your power, you misused it, that's not yours to have, we better keep it for you. And then the fear programming. Now, this is an interesting energy, because I'm seeing this like inverted flip-flop from Atlantean time, because there seems to be an energy of, right now, where we're at in this ascension process is like, you've got to choose a lane, right? Are you on the ascension timeline? Are you off the ascension timeline? And of course, for SuperNova Souls, you already chose that. It's the whole reason you came, so you don't really get a choice. But for humanity in general, but there is an energy here of a deliberate choice. Like, there's so much that is artificially holding back our spiritual evolution right now. They're trying to, with technological grid and attack on multiple levels, our life force, infecting us with, so we don't even want to go there right now, right? But maybe that is part of this bigger picture of like, we were tricked into this whole fall and this, but so we have to consciously, and that's part of the deal with Ascension. It's like it's a choice you need to make. It's our individual choice. You have to say yes, you have to want it. And so humanity is being given that choice to wake up from the trickery and say yes to spiritual ascension. But those of us who already said yes, we're finding ourselves, and you might not even know you're doing this, but it might explain a lot, like, so much you need to go through to overcome the technological control grid. But in that overcoming, and there's a lot of energy around information, clarity, confirmation, information and confirmation coming in to help you sort through this. But there's an energy of this resistance of the control energies holding back our spiritual ascension. And part of the bigger esoteric truth of that is because you gotta want it. You gotta want it. You got to use your take back your power, use your spiritual will to overcome, because your whole being you can't resonate on any vibration to the fear energy that made you give your power away in the ancient past. That's got to be completely gone. So you got to work through all this resistance and fully say yes to this process. Now, looking at things in those terms, it's, with this time that we're at, this solstice energy, because eclipse season coming to an end, Mercury retrograde coming to an end. Now, Mercury will be in retrograde shadow until through the first week of July. So we're going to be sorting out. And of course, then it has its third and final square with Neptune. It's almost like my guess is that first week of July is going to be full of cognitive dissonance. Like, we're getting drip, drip, drip. Of course, we don't get to be told on the news what's really going on, only complete lies. But there's drip, drip, drip of truth coming in. And the cognitive dissonance of those who, it's just so much easier to take the news feed as a sheep and just accept what's being fed to you and believe it wholeheartedly and be angry at anybody who questions it, right? But it's getting more and more difficult to reconcile what we're being told with the reality, and this is the trickery. It's like we have to have a bloom of this whole trickery. This monster that has controlled humanity since Atlantean time needs to be fully exposed, right? And we're in the process of that happening. It's long and painful for those of us who are awake and aware to what deeper truths and what's really going on. But we are at this place of this turning point. Like, we can't go back. There's too many people who are aware of the truth, right? Or whatever, some semblance of truth, way more truthful than what's being fed to us. But we can't go back now. We can't go back to sleep. Humanity has crossed that turning point, right? And I think this solstice represents that. And then for advanced souls, for SuperNova souls, it's a lot about this completely different way to live life. And it's interesting because that completely different way to live life is definitely resonant with that whole inconjunction between Mars and Jupiter about letting life live through you. Fully live life. What if life takes care of life? What if we're in the flow and we're in the life force, we're connected, we're expressing our God self, we're in that. Life takes care of life. We've been part of the trickery for SuperNova Souls was that the whole Atlantean story was about making you feel responsible, basically, for all trauma throughout time in this evolution, because it was fear and trauma that allowed you to give your power away. And it created a really interesting dynamic which is so on the table right now with this inconjunction Mars and Leo, of feeling responsible, like you need to come fix it now, right? You got blamed, and so now you need to, and then every life after that, you're on this mission to fix it. But you're not, we've been that's our lower ego constructs, and we got really caught in these stories and attachments, of what we're here to do on the planet. And this is like, get out of the way and let life live life. Let life take care of life. Be in the energy of expression of the life force that is your birthright, your God-given everything. You have everything. This life force that you have access to as a conscious soul in a physical body, as a human on Earth, you've got everything. You are the highest form of consciousness here because you have a body. And those of us with a body have been kind of completely manipulated, our power taken from us, lied to, trickery, and all this, all to keep us from recognizing that it was our power in the first place. So we gave our power over to structures, control structures. Control structures aren't powerful. They can only keep in power through lies and trickery and manipulation. This is the big deal with this upcoming Capricorn full moon, because at the coming is that lunation after the eclipse cycle completes the eclipse cycle, and then to be in square to Chiron. It's really speaking to the resolving of everywhere we've given away our power that's kept us from our own life force, because those wounds of Chiron in Aries is about where we gave our power away, where we said, oh yeah, no. I mean, it's almost like I can see this, and it just so metaphorically fits the way that we've been so stolen from and manipulated through like the central banking system. And it's kind of like, oh, well, you got all this wealth, and we're going to take it from you, and then we're going to charge you for that. And we're going to steal it. We're going to use it for really dark things that are continually going to work against you. This is where we got to get to. And it's hard truths, especially for Americans right now. Your taxpayer dollars have been funding very, very dark, evil things. And this is why all needs to be revealed. The trickery must be revealed on all sides. This is, we're going to have more confusion. We're going to have more misdirection. We're going to have more confusion. But then once we get into July, after this Mercury retrograde and Mercury moves over into Cancer, we got to reconcile all this. And that's kind of the energy of July. We've got a very sweet, supportive energy with Saturn. Well, it's interesting because the big square, now this is the last day today of the exact Saturn square Uranus. Saturn in Aquarius, trying to figure out how to build in this new energy. What are we doing here? Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius and Taurus, saying we got to have a revolution of value, self-worth, and our relationship to the physical. Because this is the thing too, like physical, we lose our bodies, we lose everything we gain. We've been so programmed to accumulate items, and that's who we are, and that's what gives us wealth, and that's what gives us standing in society. And it's like all that shit goes away. You cannot take it with you, And when you're clinging to life as if like something actually dies, and you're clinging to your items and you're holding on to your, it's like, you got to keep yourself safe and secure, and we got to make it through. We got to figure this out. This is how life has been. Now it's like, no, life wants to live life. Can we get out of the way? Can we let these energies back in? And that's what's trying to happen with that Jupiter inconjunct Mars. It feels like, okay, are you ready to get out of the way and let life live life? Right? And give over your control and your idea and your attachments to what it is you think you're supposed to be doing here, and what you're supposed to be taking care of these people and healing that people and saving that person, And so Saturn square Uranus is tension. Like, what needs to change for us to move over to this paradigm? It's so different, especially for supernova souls, because you've had this mechanism of control deliberately trying to keep you from ever remembering who you really are. Because who you really are is going to blow this ship out of the water. One supernova soul coming into their full power, game over for the control energies. No wonder they've had to go through so much to keep us down. And now we're like, the deal is like this Uranus and Taurus, this revolution of wealth, and that black moon Lilith coming to the end degrees of Taurus. And it's like the deep nitty gritty programming of shame in our ancestry, programmed through our ancestry lineages, programmed through that Atlantean experience. You know, it's all your fault. You messed up. You can never fix it. You're just stuck here in prison hell because of that. It's like, wait a minute. I'm in charge of my energy. I get to decide where I'm going to put it. I get to decide how I'm going to feel. And so really, really powerful. But this square is like, you can't just halfway do the new paradigm, right? We got to fully make the leap. And for supernova souls, it's like coming out of your quarantine and your straitjacket and your control energies and your your psychological handlers over lifetimes that have kept you gaslit from the truth of who you are. Coming out from all of the loyalties that are keeping you trapped in energies that are not serving you anymore, in a place you can't work, all of that. And then the new energy, this where we're making the tables turning is like you being fully supported. Like, what you need is there to support you in the full expression of your God self. And life lives life. And so if there's any little bit of low self-worth and programming, and like we can't do it, right? We got to drop all of it. And it's kind of like this crux time, we've been doing all of this work and now it's all coming to a culmination. It feels like with this solstice, like this solstice feels like this turning point, and it's always, it's a seasonal turning point. It's a big one, but it's like the beginning of the Aquarian age for reals. Like, as far as we can establish and start working in that new paradigm. And then this is the cool energy that's supporting this, is this exact sextile between Saturn. So Saturn and square Uranus, this is the tension and the frustration and the no, you can't go this way anymore. You don't get to take that baggage with you kind of thing. And then Saturn is an exact sextile with Chiron. And Chiron is, like we talked about, the wounds of where we gave our life force away. And where we had to deny our truth in order to stay alive. And so, but Saturn sextile Chiron is like, there's solutions here. There's solutions here. And it basically says, we build in the new age. We cannot move into the Aquarian age. We can't start working in that new energy. And turn this corner and flip the tables until we claim back our real. So as long as we're staying, a lot of the last few years of astrology has been this wounded place over where these forces are working, feeling like things are working against you, and is as an advanced soul and kind of coming to the realization of that that's a real thing, but then you kind of find yourself stuck in the victimization of that. Like, everything, how could these people be so incredibly evil to do this to humanity? We can't even comprehend how evil. This is what we have to all face. Now it's time for the empowerment phase, where you go, oh, but that all happened because the trickery, and I got convinced, and my naivety as a human, as a pure heart, soul human, I went down that road. You bought into the trickery because of your advanced soul nature, because of your trust, because of your love, and we got to come back to that, right? And the thing is like, this is all about raising the frequency to the point where that shit can't stay on the planet, And so more and more we're having this permission within ourselves and the world to come into this full expression of our God self, to live life fully. And but the Chiron, the wounds of Chiron, so it's like, oh, well, I can't believe all this has happened to me, and deep surfacing wounds from past lives and childhood and over these last years. And now it's time to make that switch into like, oh, that all happened because I had so much power in the first place. Like, just life force. It's not dangerous. It's dangerous to the demons. It's dangerous to disease and distortion, right? But now it's time to celebrate. You never lost this connection, and you have been punished this last period of time. Oof. The energetic attack on certain souls, psychological attack, it's like punishing you for holding on to your life force. Punishing you for your awakening, punishing you for your soul work, punishing you for your light and truth and speaking the truth and sharing the truth and your spiritual energy. And it's like, yeah, it's getting old, right? As the truths are revealed in the world of this evil control energy, it gives us more and more permission to step out of that and be like, how did we ever buy into that that's more powerful than this experience of our God-given right to exist in a body as a conscious advanced soul? We got to get on with it and start celebrating. And that's where you come in. You're here to lead the way in this turning of the corner. So it's a very crucial time for SuperNova Souls, where we got to drop all that shame, give ourselves full permission for the full experience of life. That means what you need to do what you're here to do. The support, the community. These, as these downloads have come around SuperNova Souls through my work, there's these pictures of, rarely over recent eras, but where the SuperNova Souls have come together to work on projects, and like they get a little bit done planting seeds throughout this whole Earth evolution, but it's all one big project, and here we are at the culmination of kind of the whole reason why we ever bothered coming here. And it would make sense that just before you get to that revelation, you would feel like, what the hell am I doing here? Get me out of here. I want to die, right? That's the uncomfortable place before the shedding of the skin into that full expression. And I'm telling you, like, as we give ourselves permission to come into this, those little problems, the health issues, all of that resolves and harmonizes, because the healer of all, the great corrector, that's this life force. This is source energy. This is God, creation, and this is our life force in our body, our vitality that heals us. It's constantly trying to bring us back into harmonious balance. And that force is the most powerful force, and all happens within that play. So why not be in that energy? Be the remedy. So incredibly powerful moment in time. It feels like it's going to get really busy. We've had such a treading water. I can't figure out where I'm going. What am I doing? But it's about to get way busier, where you're going to have more direction. You're going to know what you're doing, and have a very more people coming to you for support over these next weeks and months, because of these big truths that are coming out for humanity. So it's going to be a very different time, and you might want to just, for this next couple of weeks, as Mercury completes and we go through the Capricorn full moon, and just really rest your whole psyche, your whole being, really commit to your physical health. Everything that is going on with technological energies, toxins, poisons, 5G, the V and the other V, it's like all of the darkness and destructive energy is dependent upon microbes in your body, right? And so a cleansing diet where you're not feeding those microbes can make you feel really way better very quickly. And it's kind of a time for that, of the seasonal change and cleaning house and preparing and getting ready for the next chapter. It's almost like, oh, nothing's ever going to happen and I'm just stuck here and I'm so confused. And then it's like, oh, wait a minute. Life is starting to live life and I got to get out of the way. And I can see that the corner is turning. There's something else coming, right? So it's kind of, can bring you a sense of, on some level, maybe of peace, and just taking a moment to really rest and prepare for this next chapter ahead. There's this kind of, with this whole year of shutdown, there's this kind of held back energy of action, activity, events, and all that, right? And it's like, the floodgates, So take care of yourself and be really present with these energies, and know and use this time to get the complete adjustment, psychic adjustment that you need to say yes completely, even though you've already said yes, but in your full conscious being. Yeah, no, I'm not here for this. I'm here for this. I don't know what that is, but it's been a hard time. The lower matrix grid is all about disconnecting us from that miracle energy. And that's what's so interesting, because that's Jupiter at those beginning degrees of Pisces. It's like, wait, there's some magic here. Like the whole agenda wants to keep us attached to the physical as if that's what matters, right? It's like, wait a minute. And you talk to any person out there that's like had wealth and physical wealth, and it doesn't make you happy. It doesn't bring you life force. I mean, it could facilitate some things, right? And it's nice to have what you need, of course, but that's not the end all be all. Any human that's a true, would much rather have a life of meaning and purpose and expression than having a whole bunch of money and items and cars and being all alone. That's not wealth. It's not getting us anywhere. And that's a big lesson in this whole thing, is that, like the power of human connection and how much more valuable that is than all of our things, Not that things are bad in themselves, but the attachment, and that's all there is. This is the whole lie of this whole evolution. Part of the control of this human evolution is around shortening the lifespan. So it's harder and harder for humans to get back to God in each lifetime. You have to start over and try to figure out who you are again. And, but this is the evolution, the shift in the energies that allows us to realize our God self, and that feeling of life and living and experiencing and expressing and connecting, that's what health is. That's what life is. That's what happiness is. So now, Venus, we talked about how the full moon is in square to Chiron and the Capricorn full moon. And then we have two squares to Capricorn, because we have Venus in Cancer, or opposite, excuse me. Venus in Cancer opposite Pluto for the solstice. And so this is a cardinal T-square. And there's this energy of, or not cardinal T, with Aries. Well, anyway, there's Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn all represented. And so Venus in Cancer, speaking about nurturing the feminine and nurturing ourselves back into that life force, and now opposite of Pluto, and challenging those authority contracts, So the Capricorn full moon is a huge opportunity to break every contract, all ties, everywhere we bought in or agreed to that we couldn't handle our own power and somebody else need to have it, or there's that whole lie of structured religion being used to control humanity, that there's something outside of us that's more powerful. We need to pray to it, we need to be good enough, we need to prove ourselves. And it's like, wait a minute, like, this is the deal. Physics, quantum physics has shown us that we are a particle of creation, right? We got to start living that. We got to catch up. We're living in a draconian society, right? And part of the whole way the control energies have held back this evolution is through the mechanism of time and repeating those trauma patterns. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Now, if those repeating trauma patterns of war and trauma and all that have been how the control energies have controlled us, then it makes sense we need a bloom of that on some level so it can be fully revealed and fully understood. Because if we don't get to that place of fully revealing and fully understanding the level we've been controlled, it'll just happen again, right? And so the patterns of trauma and fear have got to stop. It's almost like there's this energy of a play out of that, like a movie of that, as a way to completely shift us out of that paradigm and into the new. So big changes, because we got that Jupiter turning retrograde on the solstice. Neptune turns retrograde on the 25th, and Mercury turning direct. So it's like Mercury, our everyday planet, it's like, okay, we can feel like we move forward, but the backdrop is like, wait a minute. It's like giving us a chance to catch up, right? A big part of the astrology over the last decade has been about like, okay, there's been energetic upgrades to our world, but we're not seeing the evidence of it in our physical expression, our world, our day to day, right? Like, we're still being completely lied to and propagandized. So this is where we're at. This is this turning point, and very, very powerful. So sit tight, be present, and commit to your ascension, which means to your power, your life force, your expression, and get out of the way, let life live life, and focus on this. The way forward with Mars and Leo is through shining expression, showing who you are, standing up in your truth, being willing to put yourself out there. Leos are leaders. And it's like that inspirational leader, that energy that inspires you to be bigger and greater. And so it's pulling SuperNova Souls out of their protected little safe, not so safe, but this strange place where when you feel psychologically attacked and you're just kind of immobilized and you can't quite move forward, but it's all about finding that permission to say yes and to get out of our own way, to let life into our life and let life live life. And so it's all on the table right now, and huge energy of like, okay, are you ready to release everywhere where you agreed that something outside of you is more powerful than who you are? So it's a turning point, but we still have a couple more weeks before we really see what this means. But it does feel like we're ramping up for something. SuperNova Souls is kind of like, pay attention to the messages. It's a really good time for insight, and that's going to be a big part of the soul group session. So I've gotten a solstice soul group session. This is the third of 3 soul group sessions for the 2 eclipses. So this third one is a culmination energy. If you didn't make the first 2, you can go back and get the replay, but it doesn't matter. You can come to all of them individually, but they're building on each other. And so this is this third of 3 soul group sessions. And these are group intuitive sessions where we look at shared past life pictures in order to get contractual clearing readings, soul retrieval, timeline alignment, that insight and information you need to move forward, connecting to your guidance, connecting to your soul group. And so it's a really powerful energy for this solstice to come together in that way. So I hope you'll consider joining that. And definitely, we don't get to decide what comes up in these soul group sessions. We bring our energy together and see what the pictures are about, right? But definitely seems like authority contracts are on the table. And are you ready to live again? Who told you you don't get to fully live, We've been controlled through fear, trauma, and financial tyranny, medical tyranny, so really big. So I hope you can consider joining that solstice soul group session. It's going to be on the solstice about 6 hours before the actual solstice. So on Sunday, June 20th, 3 p.m. in Mountain Time in the US. So I hope you'll consider joining, bringing your energy. You can bring your energy remotely. If you can't make the live time, know that we're working outside of time, and that those messages and information are there for you when you can catch the replay. The replay is available at the very same link as sign up immediately after the event and ongoing. So I look forward to seeing you there on Sunday. Have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful solstice, and there's an energy of like, oh, we're in a turning point. Oh, there's a new chapter ahead. Oh, I need to rest and prepare. And I was so busy feeling like I was never going to get anywhere, but now I gotta, and there's this energy of that 0 point, of that solstice, that turning, and being that 0 point. And that's a really good place to kind of be like, oh, it's the turning of the corner. And almost like you can turn in that 0 point, you can look with complete clarity all the way back to the ancient times. And then you can, know that something else is coming around the corner. And be that fool. The 0 is the fool card in tarot. And that's definitely this energy of like, it's time to be lighthearted and to celebrate and to be in, we only have, time is an illusion, and that's what's been keeping us trapped and keeping us from fully living. And so the momentary experience of life and expression is how we get out of the trap, So thanks so much for being with me. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you on that soul group session, and either there or on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.